Good morning, everyone. Now, I'm using a completely new software to do this today, so I am going to be very interested to test it and see how it's going. Now, I hope everyone's okay. It is like freezing cold and windy here in Sydney today. Like, definitely winter is here. And this happens every year where I think, oh my God, it's so cold, like it's a shock. The funny thing is, it's winter, so it's meant to be cold. So, hi, I've got some eyes on my live. If you guys are just joining me, can you do a little hi in the chat box so I can see who's here? It would be great to be able to answer questions throughout the live as well. So if you can make a comment and I can see them as we go. So I just want to dive in. I get asked a lot about websites and in particular about, I think my website could be heaps better than it is, but I don't know where to start. And incidentally, it happens at the same time as I get people who say my sales aren't consistent or good enough. I want to grow my sales. And there's a parallel, guys, because obviously your website is your Facebook engine. So we need to see what we can do to make your engine perform better. And there's a fair few of us in the e-commerce world who have a belief that your website can be improved to increase or double or even triple your sales without getting a single new person to your site. Now, obviously, if you're a complete newbie startup and you have no eyes on your site, that doesn't work so well. It has to be that you already have some traffic coming to your site. Now, if you don't know the stats, it's a little horrifying, but I'm going to tell you how it works. If you have 100 people that visit your website this week, probably only one of them will buy. Now, you might get 3 or 4 of them to buy, and that would probably be considered average. In fact, Shopify's average is 3 out of 100 people who visit your site will complete a purchase at checkout. Now, I have met in my time as a coach businesses who have been able to get that to 11 or 12 out of 100. So obviously we're talking 11 or 12%, but that is like extremely rare, and there are extenuating circumstances as to why their conversion rate is so high. But I meet businesses all the time that are like 0.5%. So that means that like only one person out of 200 eyes on site buy. Like, that's horrifying, right? So I want to help you today to be able to get your website conversion from 1 in 100 to like 3 or 4 in 100. And instantly that could double or triple your sales. And I'm pretty sure, can I get some hell yeses please in the chat box? You can just say yes, I'm a bit of a swearer, sorry. That having a double or a triple number of conversions of the same amount of traffic to your site would feel good, right? The thing is, what I find a lot of, and I'm going to like preface this whole conversation by saying the number one problem I see in small e-com brands is that they chuck money at Facebook ads or influencer marketing, and when the people get to their site isn't good enough for people to convert. So it's a little bit like going outside into the wind today and throwing $100 notes out into the air. It isn't much fun, and I really want to focus on helping you to be able to take the same amount of traffic you're currently getting, double or triple the conversion rate, and that will immediately help you to grow your sales without needing to chuck all that money off at Facebook ads. Ironically, I run these calls on Facebook, but I'm not always a huge fan of the ads. I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that though. So now let's focus. I have my high 5. These are like my top 5 points I want to tell you about. I'm going to go into a lot more detail of some little tips, but I want to start with the high 5, right? So the first one I want to touch on today is the site speed of your website. So this is like really a killer, guys, and I'll be the first to confess. Now, mine is not an e-com site, my coaching brand, but in other e-com sites I've had, I have to every 3 to 6 months go through with an expert and get them to work behind the scenes to make my site faster. Because if your site is slow to load, and I'll be honest, most of you probably have speed issues, the chances are that people will get bored and bounce, and that will contribute to the 99 people who zip off your site each month or each day or each week, whatever your stats are. So there's a few things you can do to fix this. First of all, do an audit. You can jump on a few different websites. There's Pingdom, there's Neil Patel, there's a bunch of different websites. If you just Google how to check my website site speed, put it into a few different of those free site checkers and get an audit from them. They'll give you like a score, like A, B, C, D. I got a D yesterday on my coaching brand that I only optimized about 3 months ago, but for whatever reason, it's slow to load, particularly on mobile. So
You can fix this by caching your, usually images on e-com sites are the thing that cause slow site loading, but I want you to delve into this and fix it because that is an easy solve. So number 2 of my high 5 is be trustworthy. Now, there's a bunch of things you can do in this space, guys, but if you're asking someone to come to your site who doesn't know you and to pull their credit card out and pay money to you on your website, but there's something on your site that doesn't ring true for them, they're going to be out of there fast as Flynn. So what we need to do is create trust. Now, there's a few different ways you can do this, but essentially, some of the common ones are obviously having multiple payment gateways because, you know, if you're an Afterpay and a ZipPay and a PayPal client, that gives you instant credibility. So get those logos up on the top of your banner of your website. Having your contact details, so making sure that quite clearly there's a way that they can get in contact with you. That does make you also look more reputable. Reviews, guys, I will always be harping on about reviews, but the more reviews you can get on your website, the better chances you have of people checking out and increasing your conversions. So some of the sites that I've worked with that are 6 to 10% have insane numbers of reviews on their site. And what it does is it gives instant credibility. People go, if 3,000 other people have given that a 5-star review, chances are it's trustworthy. And we all are looking to trust someone else. So things like grammar or punctuation or spelling mistakes are like big no's. That instantly says you're little and small, and people don't like little or small. They like big and popular and professional. So make your brand look bigger. Make sure that your site is immaculate. And if you want to know that it is, ask other people to check it for you. Call in a few of your favorite family members or friends and girlfriends and ask them to audit your site and pick up any typos or things that make your site not look as clean as it could, because that will be a big bow on trust. So, and of course your story, like being able to share with people in a really respectful, upbeat and professional way, a little of why they should support you. That's also a trust builder. So that's a little on my trust point. Another one that's in my top 5 is the top section of your website. So guys, when people land on your website, you have like less than 2 seconds for them to see it and decide, is this a brand I want to buy from? Now, really all they're going to see on the top of your website, and it's even less on a mobile, is your header and your hero banner. That's kind of all they get. So in those 2 sections, you need to tell them enough about your brand, about what it is that you do, the niche that you're in, and how reputable you are at what you do, for them to decide to say yes to buying from you. So there's a couple of things you can do in this space. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people make their logo really big and then leave heaps of white space around it. And that is like a massive no, because you just essentially lost the opportunity to tell someone why they should buy from you by having empty space. So make sure that's not you. And then secondly, I'm a massive fan of a tagline, or in your hero banner, a really succinct niche that you've outlined. So you might be, for me, I'm an e-commerce mentor, and I'm pretty sure my hero banner says something like, I help mompreneurs build, scalable, automated $1 million product brands. Like, that's pretty clear. When they land on my site, they're going to know what they get, right? So when they land on your site, don't make them have to work to figure out what your brand is, especially for the mum brands that are like, India Rose, Sarah Jane. It's like, what is that? Like, it's a name and it's beautiful and I'm sure it has a purpose, but underneath that, put, kids clothing or sustainable beauty, or give them a tagline so that they know what it is that you're doing. And then in the hero banner, make sure you tell them how you can solve their problem. So whatever you do, don't sell to them from the place of, we've got the cheapest products on the market. Make sure you sell to them from, I know who you are and I can solve your problem. And that will give you the opportunity to keep selling to them, where they'll scroll and look further. But if you don't do that in that top little bit of your site, chances are they're going to bounce off your site and you've lost them. And we're trying to get a few more of those 100 each day or each week or each month to buy from you. So we need to make sure that it's clean and clear and visually appealing. And I'm going to tell you some more tips as we go down, which leads me into point number 4, which is imagery. So I have this all the time in websites that I'm helping to develop, and we can take a beautiful site design and beautiful new copy, and we can put shitty images in it and the site doesn't look very good. And then we can swap only the images out and put insanely cool images in, and the whole site goes bing. So imagery and particularly product in action, let's call it lifestyle imagery of your product, is so important. And I'm not saying you need to go and spend thousands of dollars on a product photographer, but I'm saying whatever you do, unless you're particularly gifted with a camera, please don't do it yourself. And absolutely no stock photos that you've purchased online. It has to be your product in action, and definitely no photos that your manufacturer has given you from China of them trying to replicate a lifestyle image. You have to invest, and it might be that you find a micro influencer. There is some fantastic micro influencers out there who are epic at photography, who have the cutest kids in the world and are great at taking beautiful Instagram imagery of them. So connect with them and ask them, if you give them X amount of your product, would they provide you with X amount of images? You must have good imagery on your site. In my nappy brand, for the first few years, I only used influencers to fill my void on needing imagery through my website and socials. It's a fantastic way to do it. So that includes, on a product listing, make sure that you include not just 2 or 3 images of the product with a white background, and you maybe used a light box and it's clear and it's from a few different angles, so they're very clear about what the product looks like back and front, up and down, side to side, whatever it might be for your product. But additionally, at least 3 photos of the product in action. So let's just say you sell a hot water bottle. You need a couple of really good photos of the product in a little white box so that they can see the different sides, what size, what's on the front and back. Then you need to have a few great photos of the hot water bottle on a mummy's belly, lying on the couch when she's watching TV at night, snuggling a little bubba in her bed to keep her warm in winter. You want some really enticing, engaging, beautiful imagery that shows your product in action, because what that does is it tells the brain, I can see that product in my home, and it allows them to check out on that product. And if you don't have that, you miss an opportunity. So just so that I know I'm not talking to nothing, because I think there's 13 of you on the call right now, would you guys just do a hi in the chat for me again, or comment on any questions that you might have so far in this Facebook Live? And also, if it's valuable, just say yes, it's valuable, because it's always good to know that whatever I'm saying is like resonating and it's making sense to you guys. That's always helpful. So that brings me to point number 5 of my top 5, or my high 5 points that I want to raise. After this, I'm going through some more tips, guys, but this is just like my big 5, if you like, and that's also shipping. So shipping can be one of the biggest problems out there, and I can solve this for you. So one of the biggest ways that people bounce off an e-com site is if they look through the site products, they decide that they are going to buy from you, they like the product that you have to offer, they then add it to cart, and then they go, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to buy, I'm going to check out. But they can't see anywhere what your free shipping threshold is, and maybe they've spent $70 or $80 on your site. So they go to check out and then suddenly discover that it's $16 in shipping, and they don't still know what they've got to spend in order to be able to not pay for shipping. Because I don't know about you guys, I never like paying for shipping. I will literally double my dollars that I'll spend on a site before I'll pay for shipping, right? So I don't know if everybody else has the same thing, but I can solve this for you. First of all, you must make it abundantly clear everywhere that you can what your free shipping threshold is. Secondly, there's a really cool app if you're on Shopify. It's called the Free Shipping Bar. I'm pretty sure wherever I got it. Yeah, Free Shipping Bar. It's an app that you plug in. It has to sit in the middle of the top bar, right at the top of your website. And you need to make sure that your header is a sticky header so that it doesn't move. And what it means is that you'll say something like $80 to get free shipping. And then they'll add to cart $25, or let's call it $30 so I can count. And then it automatically goes up the top, $50 left to get free shipping. And you're like, cool, I know exactly what's happening here. So then you add something else for 18 and something else for 23, and it's like $7 left. You're like, right, I'm onto it. I'm going to just buy a little low cost item. Suddenly it goes, yay, you got free shipping, and you're like, done, I'm going to check out. So if you're not doing something like this, you're missing an opportunity to be able to convert people in a way that allows them complete transparency and no surprises, because people hate surprises on websites. So really important to know Also, give them a few shipping options. So don't just give them standard shipping. Add an express shipping option. And yes, they might pay $10, but some people might go, I want that product now. So I'm okay to pay $10 because I want it urgently. So statistics show that the more options you give them at checkout, like let's just go standard and express is probably a great way to start, then that is got a greater opportunity for you to convert sales than if you just stuck with the free shipping, standard shipping kind of option. So definitely consider looking into that. Right. I've got about another, I'm going to call it a dozen little tips I want to share with you. So definitely keep your pen and paper handy. But before I do that, I want to use this as an opportunity to tell you guys, some of you on this call will already be inside my Academy program, but I've done something really cool in the Academy program lately, and I want to tell you what it is. So I find, and I'm going to ask if you guys agree with me, that one of the biggest problems when you have a little e-com brand and you're trying to grow it is that you get stuck in overwhelm. You don't know where to start. Sometimes you lack the strategies and you're like, I just don't know how to solve this. But often that's not the problem. Often it's that you've got too many strategies and you don't know where to start. Can I get a yes in the chat box if this is resonating with you guys, where you're like, I just get stuck. I get stuck in overwhelm. I don't know what to do. So I go and watch Netflix, or I eat chocolate, or I disappear for a walk, or I go and do the washing because it's more interesting than trying to figure out what to do with my website. And I want to tell you how I solved that. So inside the Academy, you already know you get me, right? And all of the content that I teach to help you scale a brand. But I said to myself a few weeks ago, that's not enough. How else can I help these awesome women to be able to take my strategies and actually implement it inside their businesses? So I went and found two really amazing women that I already know and that I've been working with actually for years, that are e-commerce mamas themselves. They both are working currently in and own e-com brands and have Klaviyo and Shopify experts. They're all over the stuff that we talk about every day. And they are now inside the Academy as my implementation coaches. So we show up on a Monday, the three of us, to support you guys on a live call, which is where you can get unstuck for the week ahead and pick your 3 big things this week that you're going to work on. We then show up on a Tuesday to be able to teach you guys these strategies similarly to this call, but with more of a Q&A aspect. On a Thursday, we do a 100% live open chat about things you're stuck on to get you unstuck. And the interesting thing is you don't just get my perspective, there's 3 of us who are delivering value to you guys and are able to answer different little nitty-gritty questions, keeping you guys unstuck and moving forward. So I just wanted to let you know that if you've been thinking about joining the Academy, you cannot think about it, you have to join, because I am 100% dedicated to making the Academy the only place for small business mompreneurs to hang out and grow their brands. And it is my absolute goal to help all of you to get to consistent $20,000 months, because at the $20,000 mark, look at $10,000 a month, you can make a little bit of a wage out of that, sometimes enough that makes you happy, but 20 grand a month gives you choices. It allows you to pay for digital marketers, it allows you to invest in new products, and it allows you to pay yourself a consistent income. So my goal to you is to join the Academy and come and start to work towards, with us holding your hand. It is not a do-it-yourself course, it is a done with you course where we teach you all of these things in detail, and we show up 3 times a week plus inside the Facebook group to keep you guys unstuck and moving forward. And yes, we can help look at your website. In fact, I'm at the moment playing with another addition to the Academy, and because you guys are on the Facebook Live today, I'm happy to talk about this with you, and that is a 30-minute game plan call at the start when you join the Academy. That means that one of my implementation coaches gets on a call with you, looks at your website, talks to you about the pain points and where you're stuck, and comes up with a prescribed plan to try and help you to get some quick wins, and then work through the content in the Academy to really know that you're going to get that 20 grand a month. So let's go back to the further tips. Oh, and by the way, if you are watching this and you're interested in the Academy, it's super easy. Just send me a private message on Facebook. I'm on Messenger. That's like pretty much my #1 platform now. So if you want to, we can have a look at that. Someone just asked about the product page. We're going to talk about that now, okay? Which is really interesting because that is literally my next point on the list. So product pages and organic and free traffic, yes. 100% my Academy is focused on organic and free. There are very few things that I will ask you to do that require you to pay money, but one of them might be retargeting ads. Two of them might be considering using other marketplaces, and a third might be a small amount of money to micro influencers sometimes. But everything else I teach you is largely free, because between 0 and particularly 10 grand a month, you just don't have the margins to be able to spend lots of money on marketing. And you certainly shouldn't be spending any money on marketing until all of the other things that I work on inside the academy are set up and done right. Okay. So I've got a time frame today, so let's get cracking. Product page listing is absolutely important and often forgotten. We tend to focus on the homepage, and don't get me wrong, homepage is insanely important. It is the most important page because that's generally where people land. Although you might do retargeting ads where you take them straight to a product page. So either way, we need to make sure your product listing is better. Now, the best thing I would recommend to you here is not to figure out how to make a good product listing page on your own, but pick a few crush brands that are nailing it. I know if you're in fashion, women's fashion, Bird's Nest are all over the best product page listing out there. If you're in beauty, Go-To Skincare and Tribe Skincare do amazing jobs in this space. There is literally, if you join me in the academy, I'll tell you my top 12 websites you should crawl over like they are your new best friend and copy everything they are doing, and I'll tell you why. So having a really good product page that lists anything that they might want to know about is really important. And that also includes FAQs. So you want people who are on your website, if they're interested in buying a product, but they're not sure about sizing or they're not sure about returns or refunds, you want to make sure that both in your product listing and in your FAQ, which should be in your header and footer, they can click on and find answers to any questions they might have. And if you're in fashion of any kind, under the product listing, we've actually done with a couple of ladies in the academy lately, like stylist notes, where they actually say this is a generous fit or this suits better, non-busty women. Or I think the more information you can give people to make a decision, the better. So another really great one is before and after case studies. So I know Tribe Skincare talk about this publicly, about how great before and after, particularly with acne prone skin, etc. has been. And every time they do a call out on social media about with before and after case studies, their sales have a massive spike because people are like, I want a bit of that. So if you have a product that can be done as a before and after case study, that is a cracker. Look, I want to talk a little bit about what we call UX, which is the user experience on your site and the tech sides of this. So first of all, test it. Make sure that if you haven't lately checked out on your website, that you do. Make sure you enable guest checkout so that if people don't want to register to become, a regular visitor to your site, they can quickly and easily check out with their minimum amounts of clicks. Amazon have done lots of studies, being world leaders on clicks to checkout, and they know that every extra click drops like 10% of their sales. So the quickest, least amount of resistance to checkout, the better, right? Another really great one is live chat. So if you're in those early stages where every sale is important, you can add a live chat widget to your website that bips you on your phone. There's plenty of software that does this. And that means that wherever you are and it bips, you can quickly pick it up, answer the message, and stats show that the quicker you can get to those live chat questions, the more sales you'll get on your website. So if you are still literally doing a little happy dance every time you get a single sale, obviously that's not a scalable thing to do. But in the early days, guys, we can't be lazy. We have to get off our butts and do every single thing we can to get a sale, which pays our bills, which, keeps our stock moving, which gives us an opportunity to get a good review. These are all like insanely important. So as I mentioned earlier, make sure that your search button and your add to cart is a sticky header on mobile and desktop, so that wherever they scroll on the screen, they can always see their cart and they can always go to the search bar and type in something if they're looking for it, as well as having an easy navigation menu. We talk a lot in the academy about nav menus and nav bars. So what else haven't I told you? Bestsellers. So bestsellers, if you don't have it, make sure it's a link in your header. It doesn't have to be its own header item, but it should be under shop and it should have bestsellers. And you should also have bestsellers fairly close under the hero banner, because when people have come to your site, they can see what you do. They're like, yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. They might scroll a little further and they're like, oh, that's a really cool product. And if it is a true bestseller for you, it should be the products that have the most reviews on them. So you might have 34 reviews that are 5-star. Cool. That's better than some of your other products that maybe have no reviews. So bestsellers are putting your best foot in front of that client, and it's really important to make sure that your bestsellers are visible. Optimize for mobile first. I hammer on about this all the time, but about 80% of e-com women buy on mobile, not on desktop. Now, I checked out the other day from a brand. I particularly wanted their product, but the website on my mobile was absolutely the worst website I've checked out on forever. And it took me about nearly a minute to find the shopping cart where I'd been adding stuff to it so that I could check out. Like, I mean, how ridiculous is that? I did a $220 order on there because it's a product I needed, but I would never use that website if it wasn't that it was a one-of-a-kind kind of product. So make sure that you optimize for mobile first, because their desktop might be a nice site, but their mobile was horrendous. And look, there's a couple of other apps I want to very quickly mention. First of all, Google Analytics. Please make sure you're checking that you have Google Analytics set up for your site and you're able to check where you're losing sales. There is entire content sessions I'm going to run inside the Academy around the customer journey and their behavior on your website, so we can start to fill holes as you grow. There's also an app called StoreView that allows you, I personally haven't used it, I've just found it recently. It allows you to track your customers' behavior on your site, and it lets you know where you're losing sales and potentially have the opportunity to fix problems. There's another one called Exit Intent, which, you know, when you're on a site, you've browsed, you've maybe added something to cart, and you go to click that browser, you know, you're like, get rid of that tab. It pops up with a little pop-up and says, hey, sorry to see you leaving our site. What if we gave you 10% off to check out now? You know, so that's also an option so that you don't miss sales in that place. Somebody's just asked about pricing for the Academy. It goes for 8 weeks, guys. That is the program. You can stay longer outside of the 8 weeks for a small reoccurring fee, because we give you such great implementation coaching, which I think is incredibly valuable. The Academy is $18.97, or you can do 3 payments of $6.97, so 3 months apart. So I've tried to make it affordable, and I promise you, so I've got a few promises. One is I do a money back guarantee. I literally have never had to refund anyone in coaching before. But if it ever became something, you know, 2 or 3 weeks in that you decided that it wasn't for you, or there was something about the program you didn't believe the value for money was there, please let me know and I will just refund you in full. This is not about me making money. This is about me serving you guys so that I can help you with the things that I know have helped me build. I'm about to do my 3rd multi-million-dollar brand, and I'm also launching 2 more e-com brands this year myself, and all my implementation coaches have e-com brands. So this is our jam. We have got you in this space, and as I'm hoping you've seen from this Facebook Live today, I am all killer with no filler. I once listened into one of my competitors, and the first 19 minutes of her call was fluff. I don't have time for fluff, and nor do you. We are all busy women, and I promise you I will always value your time like I value my own. Someone's asked what the last app was. There's 2 I mentioned. StoreView, which if you just Google Shopify app for tracking customer behavior, I'm pretty sure that's how I found it. I always look for apps that have a good number of reviews, like at least 100 5-star reviews, and I'm pretty sure that one was good. And the other one was Exit Intent, which is a Shopify app that can help you to catch them as they click off. But guys, on the Shopify marketplace, as on the WooCommerce marketplace, are heaps of good apps, and I will run through more apps inside the Academy to help you guys to optimize your website conversion. So that pretty much concludes our Facebook Live today. I have a coaching call to go and jump on. I'm sending you all a gigantic big hug because, and I want to say this one thing before I hang up, you guys are brave and courageous because you started your own online businesses. And I have to tell you, it is not for the faint-hearted. If you wanted an easy life, you would just go and work for someone else. And I know that we're all here. And I know that, yes, bravery might have started this business, but also it sometimes feels like a lonely journey. Sometimes our family around us don't particularly get us, or our husbands can be a little bit sometimes downright negative about our little side hustle. But I want you to know that you are brave and courageous, and I have a community of women who can be here to support you completely. If you want to come and join us inside the academy, just flick me a Facebook message. If that isn't for you right now, stay active inside my big Facebook group. That is only going to keep growing, and I'm going to keep adding stuff to it. Somebody's just mentioned, by the way, too many apps slow the website down. That is 100% true. You have to be very careful about how many apps you put on the back end. That's why you need to have a good developer in the back scenes. I pay developers about $20 an hour. You don't need to spend a lot of money, but you do need to get enough sales traction so that you can afford to have little bits of support in the back end so you're not figuring this shit out on your own, because that is no fun. So you have to come and join me in the academy so I can help you guys get to 10 and 20 grand months so that you can afford to have a support crew of people to help you to grow this brand, and so that you can get excited and love what you do. So my gorgeous friends, go forth, have a wonderful Thursday, stay warm and dry wherever you are, and I will speak to you all again soon. Bye.